Hello everyone, this is Family Jewels 7X. You might have heard me from the BoyFlop podcast. This episode this week is mostly just cut up portions of the Travis Carte BoyFlop episode that we didn't include in the original episode. It's a common misconception that we release just the 1 hour of us talking, when in reality, we edit the shit out of it. So, for this Thanksgiving, since we're all away, we hope that you enjoy the first released, uncut, deleted, whatever the fuck you want to call it, BoyFlop episode. If you enjoy this, we would love to release more of these in the future, so please let us know in the comments on SoundCloud or YouTube, or at twitter.com/BoyFlopPodcast. Enjoy. Travis, did Rich tell you the DiGiorno story with John?
No. I still expect just like a check in the mail to come for that.
Okay,
thank you. And I'm like, no, I think my roommate.
Shut up. Tell the story. Okay, I think we actually told it.
Oh fuck!
Well, that was for a BoyFlop night, wasn't it?
I don't think it was.
I think it was after. I think it was after a BoyFlop.
So
Wait,
I was like,
let me preface this with: before all of this happened, Rich had said that he was going to order pizza.
Okay.
yeah, that's true. So I said I was going to order pizza, and I was like, John, do you want pizza? And he's like, yeah, I guess, because like I guess it was like my turn to order pizza. They'd gotten in the past. But I tried. Oh, this was for Halloween. I tried calling the pizza place, and I was put on hold for like 10 minutes, and then they just hung up, and I was like, well, I guess that's not happening.
And so, I didn't know this.
Yeah, John didn't. John was in his little room doing his thing and his music stuff. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just make a pizza that I had. It was a DiGiorno, and I like had some of it, and I ate it. And was it later that night or was it the next day?
So I came downstairs and I thought that Rich had ordered pizza for all of us and then not told me that it had gotten here. So I went into the fridge and I was like, oh fuck yeah, Rich ordered pizza for us.
Yeah.
And so I take the rest of the what I did not know was a DiGiorno out. And I microwaved it and I ate it because I thought Rich had ordered a pizza.
But the best part is what you said afterwards to Rich.
Yeah, I literally came down here and I was like, la la la, I'm gonna have pizza. And I look in the fridge, I'm like, wait, what the fuck, my pizza? And then I look over and John's at the table with a big stupid grin on his face. And he's all content and shit. I'm like, oh, did you eat the pizza? And he's like, yeah, this is really good. Where'd you order it from? And naturally it's DiGiorno. So I'm like, John, did you get paid for this? Did you get paid for this? Where's my check? Where's my fucking royalties check? No. So pretty much we played out a DiGiorno commercial and I was out of pizza. I had no pizza.
So Rich was literally like, it's not delivery, John. It's fucking DiGiorno.
I had to say the tagline. I literally was like, John, I didn't order that.
It was literally like stupid how well I accidentally played Rich into being the.
And I'm getting someone just putting a check quietly in my pocket right now.
Yeah, you were saying that you weren't actually mad that he ate your pizza. You were just mad that it was like.
That I had to play into the advertising.
The funniest part to me about all of this is that like I'm the guy in this group who everybody like shoots the pizza memes at. Like, everybody always makes jokes about how I'm like addicted to pizza, and I will be the first to admit that I am absolutely addicted to pizza.
You had pizza earlier today.
I had pizza like 4 times in the past 2.5 days. Yeah. So like, but the worst part about all of this is that I have had so much pizza but so little DiGiorno that I did not recognize that it was a DiGiorno pizza. So I was like, oh, this is square.
You played into their trap.
I played into it, yeah.
You fell into their trap.
It was good pizza, though. I'm going to have to get DiGiorno more.
It was good, wasn't it? Wish I would have had the rest of it, too.
Wow. You said you weren't mad about this.
No, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, no.
I'm not
Dad,
mad.
no.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I'll see people playing and like they're doing something really weird. There's actually a guy around where I live who he has a really, really weird, like almost like Marty Friedman picking style, and it hurts to watch, you know. Yeah. But like it doesn't look like he's gonna damage himself. That's the stuff that I look out for. If they're like you were saying somebody,
I'll go into detail on that. Like if you like John, I've noticed you pick with like a weird selection of fingers. Like don't you use your ring finger or something?
I use my middle finger, and I didn't even notice that I was doing that, and everybody else wasn't until like this past month. I was like, wait a second, all these other guitarists are using their pointer finger, and I've never even looked at my picking hand long enough to realize that But like, if it works for you, that's a thing where it's like, okay, whatever, maybe it's just a weird choice. I don't know if it's working for me. Like, honestly, I feel like if I switch to using my pointer finger, because I tried sweeping with my middle finger and with my pointer finger, and it seemed like my pointer finger was much more accurate, even though I'm so used to my middle finger.
Yeah.
Just because of the position.
It might just be like
hand.
that. Like I feel like you're just naturally a little more like dexterous with your index finger, maybe.
And also because like just like the angle at which.
Oh yeah, totally.
The angle at which you sweep pick, it lends itself more to.
The reason I personally wouldn't want to is because my right hand is constantly doing tapping stuff with like my middle finger and my ring finger. Yeah. So if you ever want to start doing that crazy like Tosanabasi shit, then yeah. But the story I was going to get to is I actually I gave a lesson to a student. I'm not going to say who it was, but I noticed that he anchored, which is where you actually place one or two of your fingers on the body of the guitar while you're picking, so that you kind of like it feels more steady. And a lot of people will be sticklers about it and be like, "Oh, that's improper." But like I anchor, John Petrucci fucking anchors, like a bunch of guitarists I look up to, like Guthrie Govan anchors.
Yep.
But the student that I had was literally jamming his pinky and his ring finger into the body of the guitar so much that it looked like they were about to snap. And it was like, you're gonna give yourself arthritis in like 2 years if you keep that up. And I pointed out, and he's like, "Oh, I never noticed." And he came back the next week or 2 weeks or so, and he was like, I not only is this much better for picking, but my wrist doesn't feel as strained anymore. Right. It's like if you do that, that's a thing where it's like you probably do want to like seek a little bit of professional training just to make sure you're not hurting yourself.
Yeah,
I was going to say if that's not something that you can do. Yeah. I mean,
YouTube.
What it always comes down to is you should be putting forth the least amount of effort into like physically to get what you need done. When I play quickly, I'm not. I used to tense up like crazy, and it's bad. I mean, I
gotta work on that. I still do that.
Yeah,
you just
if you've seen how I play, it is the lightest touch.
Yeah,
like I play in drop A with like 10 gauge strings. People, how do you do that? I was like, because I play so fucking lightly. Yeah. Like everything is just so dainty.
I remember playing your guitar like when I just got out here.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god.
I was just like, Jesus, these are like spider webs. And then you played my guitar. And the action's like super high.
I'm just like, how do you do this? It feels like it felt like I was playing an acoustic, like a steel string acoustic or something. Yeah, I was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah, my
fingers are they're so dainty.
I feel like I started wanting to get just like the warmest tone I possibly could, because one of the things I hated the most about my tone, and this is probably because I just distorted the shit out of my guitar and stuff. Yeah. But was one, I wanted like a warm full tone, and two, because I figured like, what if I just keep playing on these crazy like heavy strings and then move down? Like maybe I'll just like totally shred like then. I don't know. Like I feel like for a lot of people, like it's a lot of people might listening to this might be like, start to like freak out and like, oh god, maybe I have bad technique with like even singing or like guitar. But like
it's whatever works for you.
For your student, it worked for him to do that. Like, but I mean, I'm sure that it was kind of, he had to have felt that tension in his hand. You know, it probably
was something he was just like not thinking about. Because when you're like a newer guitarist starting out, everything hurts.
Right, that's true.
Like your hand cramps, fucking everything sucks. Like
I think it's just about like no matter what you're learning, it's about finding a happy medium. Because like I'm all for the whole like, fuck getting lessons, do it yourself, and just go balls to the wall with trying to teach yourself how to do it, because that's how I learned how to play guitar. And I'm still not the best guitarist, and I'll be the first to say that, but like I learned how to sing mostly by teaching myself. I learned how to play piano mostly by teaching myself, and not to brag, but like I also did get a little bit of piano lessons. I was in choir for a little bit, and I had some people point out to me, hey, you need to do this a little bit differently. Yeah. And even just like getting a second opinion, whether it's from an internet video or getting a Skype lesson with somebody who's friend of a friend that who,
or even just like a local teacher or something.
Right. It's like, so it's about a fine line between not spending a shit ton of money on lessons that might not benefit you as much as just pushing yourself will, but also getting just enough professional instruction that you are learning how to do it right, so that you don't develop bad habits. It's all about balance. Art is something that everybody kind of takes for granted.
Oh, absolutely.
And people want to be able to go on YouTube and watch a video and for free, and they expect that. So there's no.
Then when it's bad,
I mean,
I want my free back.
Like, there's
dislike, unsubscribe. I subscribe just so I can unsubscribe.
About Patreon, like not even like demanding money, but just putting out the option to tip, and people, you're a sellout.
It's like that happened. Like
Like I guess this isn't really like a sensitive thing to talk about. Like when I started my Patreon video, I noticed that like, and I never get that much hate on any of my videos, and I'm thankful for that. But I put up a little Patreon video. I'm like, hey guys, I'm starting a thing because people are asking me to, and people want to help me out. That's cool. So here it is. And I got like all these random commenters that I've never seen before that are like, wow, why don't you just go waggle your tip jar in someone else's face, you fucking peasant? And it's just like, where did you come from?
Yeah, here's what people don't fucking think about though. Like okay, so sensationalism in the modern media. Not going to get into that rabbit hole right now, but right now, it is a fact that if you want to make it on YouTube, you have to upload every week. Yeah. Like Jules. No,
I did. I did that.
You fucking did, and you earned it. But like if you don't post every fucking week, you're fucking screwed on YouTube because the YouTube, the people in charge of the algorithm. You know, like the people, the people in charge of YouTube literally put a system in place that fucks you over if you don't post every week. But as a musician, it's physically fucking impossible to make a song every week unless that's the only thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
So like, unless
Catch
you are,
22.
Unless you're literally spending 8 hours a week, or not 8 hours a day. 8 hours a week. Yeah, we're fucking lazy. No,
it's so hard.
Unless you're literally spending every hour that you would spend pouring coffee instead making music, you're not going to be able to post every week. And then unless you sign your soul over to American Idol or a record label, you're not going to make it.
It's hard.
But then there's this disconnect where all of these people who expect content creators to regularly post videos that take 40 hours to make, that have to be posted weekly, those same people, they expect it for free, and they expect you to keep doing that. And here's the kicker. They expect you to be doing it because you love doing it and not asking for money. So then as soon as you ask for money, they associate you asking for money with you not being in it for the love of the art anymore.
I think,
and that is such a fucking bullshit double standard, because how am I going to do it? Okay, so I would love to see one of the...
Travis is raising his hand.
I would love to see one of these people... I'm okay. One more sentence. Sorry. Yeah. I would love to see one of these people that says, if you're not doing it for a labor of love, then you don't deserve to make it. Yeah. I'd love to see one of those people work a full-time job and manage to post a high-quality video every week and make it. They'd fucking go insane. They'd either go insane and kill themselves out of all the stress and never getting to actually like sleep, or they just wouldn't make it because they wouldn't be able to finish a weekly video in time. Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Travis, real quick before you continue with your point,
Travis, you can just go. We're just gonna do it.
Be our guest.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to that. I was just gonna say, I think the phrasing that I used when I was like discovering all these weird comments on my Patreon video was, I guess putting the option for people to tip me out there makes me the entitled one. Yeah, because it's like what the fuck?
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, Travis, you had a thought.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a way to highlight where the spot is, but like there was a commentator, like a video game commentator for a competitive Call of Duty, who had this exact conversation on like a podcast live stream, and it completely destroyed his career.
Really?
Yeah. So you might want to edit this part out because people saw it and they were like.
It's a conversation.
Like, wow, what a fucking dick.
It's a conversation
he basically got into it with other commentators about how hard it was to make a living, like as a commentator, like content creator. And like people saw it, and he got like drunk on stream and like went on this huge rant about trying to make money at it, and his career literally tanked.
I think I've seen that video, and it's a little more intense than that. Like he says some weird things, but like it's a conversation worth having. I think so. I'm not too concerned. And actually, on that, to be fair, on that same video, there were people that I did identify as like people that were regular watchers and listeners of my videos, like defending me and like telling the trolls to like fuck off and go away and stuff. So I think genuinely, like fans, I guess if you want to use that term, that actually do want to support you. I mean, like they were asking me, and I'm sure they ask you guys, like, when are you going to make a Patreon? Like, so like it doesn't make you a sellout.
I could say that if you go into doing any kind of music expecting tips, I would rather like you should probably be more expecting that you're going to get fucking shit on and haters and stuff like that.
And there's a difference between expectation versus just like putting it out there.
Well, and here's the thing. There is also a disconnect with artists too. And what I mean by that is that artists... Okay, so not only do viewers expect that artists should be sucking their dick without getting paid, so to speak. Let me pause and go back. Wait, okay, break, cut.
Leaving all this in,
Leaving
John.
this all
I'm leaving all of this in.
So
John sucks dicks confirmed.
so not only is there a disconnect with people expecting that artists shouldn't want to get paid, but there's also a disconnect where if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to school for 4 years to be a doctor. And
More than that, but yeah.
well, yeah. If you want to be if you want to be an entrepreneur, you either need to fucking do a shit ton of research or you need to get a business degree.
Yeah.
If you want to be an accountant, you need to study accounting. But while I love to advocate for the artist and say artists deserve to get paid, there's also a lot of artists who have no fucking clue what they're doing, but expect people to be paying them because they are a quote-unquote artist or a...
they have a Facebook page.
They have a Facebook page.
They watermark their photos.
Like
It's
we were
legit,
talking
okay?
about.
They're professional.
Yeah, they watermark
They
their
pirated
photos.
a copy of Photoshop, okay?
Right, so what I mean by that is... If this were a perfect world, if Jonathan Young were in charge of everything...
And speaking in the third person.
in the third person...
it's your boy.
Then the two things that would need to change is that people would need to... Okay, first you would fix the economy so people could afford this.
Easy.
Easy.
So easy.
Second, people need to be willing to pay just as much for... to a musician as they are to a barista. Mm-hmm. And third... musicians shouldn't expect to be paid like a barista until they've learned how to make coffee.
Or at least until they've proved themselves.
Yeah.
That was a crazy
analogy.
Unless
That
that
makes
makes sense.
You like
makes me
crossed
coffee.
analogies
Fuck
there.
that
Does that, I mean, I know that.
No, I totally get it. But
you know what I mean, though.
What I was going to add to that, and this is an interesting thing that I was actually talking with my dad about,
Yeah.
is the way things are going with like the oncoming, like I guess if you wanted to call it a threat, not really, but like this oncoming thing of like raising minimum wage and the implications of that on like low wage workers and low wage jobs, like baristas and people who work at McDonald's and stuff.
Right.
The thing is, the society we live in, those positions exist solely for the fact that we need them for capitalism to exist. Because machines and robots can do it much better than they can. But what that means is, will society, as a result of that, start favoring artists a little bit more because that's something that machines cannot replicate?
They're starting to.
That's an
Holy
interesting
fuck.
That's a
point.
crazy
And
fucking point.
I don't want to get into because I for one I am on the side of raising the minimum wage.
Oh, totally.
Because
but realistically, they're going to start
Right.
putting out burger bots instead of hiring Jimmy.
Right.
Who's still in high
Well,
school.
and that's
Like-
I mean maybe, but
I want a burger
think
bot.
maybe
Yeah, it's a
maybe
veggie burger bot.
I mean people talk. I mean I feel like that's one of those things where people say like, oh, there's going to be hoverboards in 20 years, and then 20 years later,
Well, I mean, there's already like pizza machines. There's already already McDonald's implementing like fucking kiosks that just let you order and shit it out.
And I mean, we could talk in circles about that.
Yeah.
The bottom line with the minimum wage thing is that right now people can't feed their kids.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. And I'm not going to get into that. Like
That's
I think,
a flaw of capitalism that we need to face soon.
Right. So like we need to obviously fix the problem of like people can't fucking feed their kids at minimum wage right now. And the last time that the rich and the poor were so far apart was
over
right
here.
before. Or the last time that
You can leave.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just
Bye, Rich.
and I don't want to get preachy, but like the last time that there was such that door slam, the last time there was such a big gap between the super rich and the super poor was right before the Great Depression. So I'm not going to get into that, but
we took a very serious turn.
Yeah,
from,
yeah.
Yeah,
But
this is like I feel like uncomfortable.
But this is
It's an interesting
this is a good
question.
point. Is that like eventually like on a smaller scale, there aren't VHS stores anymore.
Yeah.
Because you have Netflix.
Yeah.
So that's probably not something that had a huge ripple effect in the job market, but like you can't get a job at a video store anymore. People got laid off if they worked at Blockbusters, and those people had to find jobs elsewhere because of things like Netflix.
Yeah.
And maybe, hopefully, that will lead to a society where art is more valued. But on the flip side, it could also lead to a society where art is so oversaturated that nobody...
And now there's more realistic virtual instruments.
Yeah, that's true, because...
Is Superior Drummer putting
Dr-
drummers out of
Yeah,
jobs?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think Superior Drummer is putting drummers out of business. I think that fucking Adagio Strings
aren't you working on
that?
that thing, Jules? Can we not talk
listen,
about that?
No, I've already announced it that I'm working on
Okay.
this Guitar VST. But
You're the enemy.
I am the enemy. No, but in that what do you call it? In the other side of that argument is a drummer would be way better at programming drums than somebody who wasn't a drummer. So it just never ends. It never
the cycle of counterculture that we've talked about in the past. At some point, I mean, maybe not, because 90% of the people that I know are fooled by Superior Drummer.
Sure.
They think that Superior Drummer is...
I get asked a million times a week.
Funny story. I have been using digital drum samples on all of my videos since my second or third month of YouTube. But the one video where I did all MIDI... Have I told you guys this? The one video where I did all MIDI, and as an experiment, I said... I did all of the instruments that you heard digitally. And I started getting comments where people said, the drums just don't sound as real because you did all of it digitally. And it's like, actually, I've been doing everything digitally and you didn't notice it until I told you. But now it's the placebo effect.
Yeah.
I told you.
Turntable.
Right.
You're a phony.
Yeah. So this kid who's a fan of mine, and I love this kid. He comments on my videos. He seems like a great guy. But he kind of like commented with this kind of air of like, well... This isn't real, and it doesn't have passion behind it because it's not real instrument.
How can this be real if our eyes aren't real?
Yeah,
so you have Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith for president. No, but like, so it was like, so.
How can this music be real if our drums aren't real?
It could go either way. It could go either way.
Travis.
It's
another
Travis
proverb.
dropping another Jaden Smith reference.
But I
live
think
on BoyFlop.
Live.
I don't know. I mean, I what might happen is. There might be a hipster counterculture cycle where there's so much hi-fi digital synthesized instruments that people start deciding that they want to go back and they want to, like, there might be this shift where people start devaluing and feeling desensitized by digital music, and so they start leaving download sites and leaving MP3 players and going to live shows instead. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't because
I think it'll be a mix of
digital instruments are so convincing. But I was going to mention, I saw this video. I don't think it was College Humor, but it was something similar where they were talking about. You mentioned something about like this like dystopia or utopia where
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you might have seen it.
Where it's like we don't say that anymore. Or no, I don't.
Oh, okay. It might be something. You were talking about how like maybe if machines do everything for us, then everybody will do art. So there was this video.
I had a point to raise about that.
Well, but
go ahead.
Yeah. So there was this video where they were talking about Star Trek, and in Star Trek, maybe this is reading into Star Trek too much, but in Star Trek, all of the music that they play when they're out to eat or whatever is all really old classical music.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they go, I mean, there's if you ever watch Star Trek, there's things like the holodeck where you literally walk into this holodeck and it can literally make all of your fantasies and imaginations come true. So like there's this sort of weird, it's like really interesting food for thought where like, what if we lived in this world where literally machines did everything for us? So then like, nobody needs, I mean, I don't want to say nobody needs art anymore, but think about if you could walk into the Star Trek holodeck and literally, live out all of your fantasies, then nothing matters anymore, and you would just become so jaded about everything that nothing, I mean, it's like the weeb trope. It's the trope about like the people who get so enveloped in their fantasy internet life that they literally never leave their house. Yeah. And it's kind of like people like there's little forums that talk about how Star Trek is kind of in a dystopia like that where like everybody is so enveloped in having all of their pleasures instantly gratified in their own home.
So what I want to know is how is holodecks like developed and people just don't all have their own holodeck and just banging a new girl every 5 minutes.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Well,
it's science fiction, Jules.
The forum.
That's how.
The forum went on.
My point is destroyed.
The forum went on to basically say that the reason that the people in Star Trek are so desperate to take a spaceship and discover new shit is because they've literally run out of things to do.
Yeah. Well,
the final frontier.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Trekkie nerd, but like, well, I mean, their whole like idea of whatever is that it's like. I mean, it's almost kind of like socialism in that like there's not really much of like a currency. Like they mention it in First Contact. which is a Next Generation movie, where they go back in time, and this girl is like, shit, how much did this spaceship cost? You know, like, this is crazy. And
they're like, it was built.
He was like, he's just like, there's no currency. We just all kind of do everything we do to kind of pursue a greater whatever, like of humanity.
Well, hypothetically, if we get to the point where machines start doing everything for us, we will run out of jobs.
Yeah,
so
that's the problem.
So we will get to a point.
It's okay because the AI will just kill us all anyway.
Well, yeah.
Skynet.
Yeah.
No, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
I want to bring up a point about that. I want to bring up a point. Okay, so you're probably thinking to yourself like, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be like jobs like lawyers and doctors and stuff. As it turns out, there's like programs and applications being developed right now that are more accurate about diagnosing people with conditions. Just better than actual doctors are.
Like the guy in the Disney movie, the big fluffy Big Hero 6.
Yeah, Big Hero 6.
I didn't see that.
I
didn't see that. No, but that's scary though because making decisions like a jury would apparently they're becoming to like an algorithm that like is more
that's super
objective,
that's
more
super,
objective.
Yeah,
and
that's super fucking
not only
dystopian.
that in regards to arts, apparently. We talked about how music is formulaic, and we talked about how what people like is formulaic.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Bring up that program that could make like piano like concertos that were so good that it was fooling like doctors.
I never listened to it.
Yeah,
is it scary?
Fuck, man.
It like to me, I mean, it's just it's not like this weird scary thing. It just sounds like. I don't know. It sounds good.
The same thing applies to like drawn and like painted art and stuff too. It can be convincing.
I kind of feel bad saying this, but like honestly, like thinking about this stuff, I get to this like barrier point where it's like I'm gonna die before then.
Whatever.
Like,
I'm there.
That would be fucking shitty if we lived in a world where like you literally. I mean, it's like 1984.
You just
exist.
Like
you just exist. Like. I don't know, like that.
There has to be a struggle of some kind.
That question alters the very fundamental core of who everybody thinks they are as a human. That like, what would we do with ourselves? I mean, but like then it gets to the point where it's like, man, I want to play Fallout 4. I don't want to think about this anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's like
and maybe that's what it'll be. Maybe we'll play video games all day.
But it's funny going back to that Star Trek forum. It's like all of the people in that society fantasized about when there was actual struggle.
Yeah,
you know,
damn.
I mean, but it's I don't know. We're getting really fucking deep on this.
I know. I don't even like it. This is like
there's actually
Travis. This is your fault.
Yeah, I don't know what you did.
Anyway.
It's like way too deep and not even fun for me anymore. I'm just like, man, when is this gonna be over?
All right, well, I guess
I'm having an existential crisis in my little corner here. I'll just conclude
this whole thing. I'll say we're all going to be making YouTube videos until the Terminator comes and fucking kills us in Skynet.
Yeah.